Beyond the Badge is brought to you by the Edina Crime Prevention Fund and Orange Theory Fitness.
There's a new way to contact emergency responders that requires only a cell phone and your fingertips. Edina paramedic firefighter Pete Knably stopped by Edina's dispatch center to learn more about the new Text-To-911 system. He joins us now. Pete?
Thanks, Brian. We're here with Dispatch Supervisor Tony Martin in the Edina 911 Dispatch Center. We're here to talk about Text-To-911 today.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Tony, if you would, tell us a little bit about this new system.
Absolutely. Text-To-911, obviously text has been around for a long time, since cell phones. However, you have not been able to text 911. It's new to that because there are limitations and the infrastructure had to be built by the state, and they have since done that, and Text-To-911 just went live December 5th.
Is this available only in Edina, or is this something that's available to a larger area?
Text-To-911 is available in the entire state of Minnesota. The state wanted to do this as a statewide project, so then everyone knew that you could text 911 in the entire state and you would get a 911 dispatch center.
Is there any limitations based on what phone you have or what carrier you go with?
No, as long as you have an active cell and data plan, you should be able to text 911.
What are some of the situations where someone would want to use text to get a hold of 911 instead of a phone call?
We would prefer people still call 911. Text to 911 is not going to be a default or what people should go to. Text to 911 is for people that are not able to physically text or call. They might be in a domestic abuse type situation, deaf and hard of hearing. Some of those situations where it might endanger you to call, say if there's an intruder in your home and you don't want them to know you're calling 911, they can certainly text 911.
Let's say someone wanted to text 911 because they needed help. What kind of information would you guys need at a minimum in that text message?
If somebody needs to text 911, they're going to text literally to 911 as the destination. They're going to also want to include their location, their address, or a intersection of wherever they're at, and also what they need, their service. Why are they texting 911? What is the issue? You're going to want to clearly state that right in the beginning because there could be a delay with texting, just as it would if you were texting a friend. They can come out of order and they can also be delayed, might not even be received. So you want to go ahead and clearly state what the issue and location is directly. After that, the dispatcher will continue to ask questions, but with texting, you're going to need to ask one question at a time and wait for a response. Because if you start asking multiple questions and a response comes in, what is that answer to? You don't know which question. So you're going to want to make sure that, you know, that information, you get it before it's received, and etc.
What if someone was, say, only able to get out the word help? Would you guys be able to determine a location, or how would that be handled?
So the way the information that we get on a normal cell phone 911 call is kind of what we call cell tower information, or phase 2. You actually have an active cell phone call which will be able to triangulate your location. With texting, that's not the case. Texting at this time, it's actually just pulling from kind of the center of the cell sector that you're in because it's only using data. So there are times that we're getting 1,000 meters difference of where you're at. So we're not able to actually narrow down specifically where you're texting from. So it's imperative that you actually would text the location so we know where to go.
Has anyone used this Text-To-911 system yet?
We have received a handful of texts since it's been live. We've only received one that's been an actual emergency, and they were able to give us that information and get the response out to them. We have also received a lot of accidental text, believe it or not, somebody actually texting 911 on accident. And if that's also important to know, if you do text by accident or your phone sends this for some reason, because different cell phones operate different ways, that you just clearly state that this was an accidental text. And also if you do send it and a dispatcher asks you a question, respond to that. Because we treat these texts just like a real 911 call, and under the state statute they are considered that. And so if there's misuse, there can be prosecution if it's being misused purposefully.
You know, Tony, this sounds like a fantastic new system. Obviously, we want to make sure people are calling, like you said. Is there anything else that you want to add to make sure that the citizens know about this?
Exactly. I would just encourage people. We want people to call 911 still instead of texting, unless you absolutely need to. There's so many different possibilities, and especially being a new technology, it's very important that people call instead of texting. Also, you have to remember that you're not allowed to text and drive. Mm-hmm. So if you do need to text, you should be stopped if you need to get a police, fire, or EMS response.
Thank you for your time today, Tony, and thank you for all this fantastic information. Back to you in the studio, Brian.
Thank you, Pete.